Hey sis, nice to see you. How are you? I'm gonna get started in just a moment. Um, I was shut down on TikTok earlier, so I'm gonna do this on YouTube. A lot of things have changed. A lot of things I'm not allowed to say on this platform. So I'm gonna say what I am able to say, as much as I can say here, and the full breakdown is gonna be on Patreon. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and I will make sure that I have a replay available because some of this information is gonna be channel information from the Akashic Records. But first of all, let me start off by saying this. We have so much magic inside of us. When it's being activated, the world becomes more chaotic because we have not mastered our own magic within ourselves. When I say magic, I'm not talking about the woo woo, we're gonna become like Wakanda, we're gonna be like superheroes, I'll be Storm. I'm not talking about like that. It's so much misinformation out now about what magic really is 844. That's 4444, which is bringing me to the conversation that we're about to have, Ashe. But it's so much magic that's available to us. And I don't know who can relate to this, but you can feel inside of you that something is different. But you feel chaotic inside. You feel like you're almost living just a portion of the life you're supposed to be living. Maybe you've been feeling these things. It's a reason for that. It's a reason for that. A lot of what I see in the spiritual community right now is what I would call psychosis. And it doesn't mean that people are not having spiritual experiences. It doesn't mean that people don't have these specific capabilities. It just means it's not going to happen in the way that we might think that it's going to happen. So, one of the most powerful things that you can do as someone who comes from a lineage where rituals and ceremonies, meditation, mantras, sitting around the fire, walking barefoot, cooking with each other, helping each other give birth, discussing our dreams with the elders, going to the oracles, going to those who did divination to figure out what was going on with us. We didn't have doctors, we didn't have hospitals. For so long, this is what we relied on. That's awakening in us, and it's crashing the systems that are outside of us because it's reawakening in us. And this is why so many of us feel this strong yearning to be somewhere else, to be doing something else. You just feel like something is suppressing your capacity to experience this thing called life. You can feel it. You feel like something is sucking the life out of you. For those of us who are high priestesses, which basically a high priestess is a woman who is deeply intuitive. She's sensitive to energy. She has premonitions. She dream walks. Okay? Native Americans, the indigenous, call this dream walking. And I want to talk about what's happening to us and what that means. So when you dream walk, I love that. I love that, Spotless Leopard. When you dream walk, you are actually leaving your physical body to go have an experience within another dimension. You're not dreaming something that's not actually happening. It's actually happening. Peace, sis. is actually happening. Dick Gregory talked about how a lot of indigos astral travel every night when they sleep, and how even the government knows about this. I mean, if you were ever called a gifted kid, you did any of those programs in school, like they're aware that we are able to do things. And I have so much information that I could give y'all on this and how to use this, to the point where I'm being suppressed. And I'm going to share with you something that I recently experienced. I want you to know that this is also an activation. So welcome. If you're new, I'm Khamsin the Untamed Oracle. This is my backup channel because this channel has also been shadow banned. I have another channel. That link is in the description. If you want to get those 400 plus posts of things that have been banned, really soon I'm going to create a playlist for y'all that has at least 500 hours of content that has been removed. They really never have a good reason for why they remove it, except that I'm accurate. So that's who I am. You can connect with me in those ways in the description. I create courses, and I have a spiritual shop for you to get your tools. And so you can check that out as well. But let me get into what's happening while we're dreaming. So, as you all know, the Pope passed away. The day after Easter was reported. That's a reverse crucifixion. Easter is the rising of the sun. So to have the representative of Christianity, Catholicism, the Pope, to actually leave, transition, and the weekend of Easter is a reversal. This is reverse magic. Okay? So I have not been doing a lot of decodings. I'm always getting information about the collective and the Akashic records, but I've been really on some other stuff. I've really been on alchemizing my own trauma and helping people who are ready to alchemize their own, because that's where you get the maximum benefit from doing the work on yourself, which most people are not willing to do. And that's okay, because you'll just have to come back and incarnate again and awaken. If you don't, at some point you're going to keep coming back for you to awaken, for you to evolve. But the day before, I didn't know anything about this. I haven't been tapping into this information. So when I lucid dream, get you some tart cherry juice or some grape juice or some blue lotus if you want to activate your dream state to get stronger. Okay, I have rituals that I do every night, and this keeps me in alignment. So important that we learn how to stay in alignment. So important. So I fall asleep and I open my eyes and I'm out in space. I am hovering above the planet, watching what I thought was a comet crossing from Earth, going deeper into the cosmos. I later found out that it wasn't a planet. Okay? So I said to myself, I'm obviously here for a reason. And if I just pull myself out of this dream and wake up, I'm going to miss out what it is that I'm here for. So I followed the comet. And as I'm following the comet, I realize that I'm starting to enter into the zodiac of Cancer. Now, I don't have a lot of Cancer in my chart, and I don't really know a lot of people who have Cancer as any of the main 3 zodiac placements. So I knew that this wasn't specific to me. I followed this comet, and in the midst of me following the comet, going through the zodiac of Cancer, right in between the two claws, a wormhole opened up and went through the portal behind it. And when I came through the other side, I was in a totally new star system, a star system that did not look or feel familiar at all. There were two main stars that I saw right before I went through the portal. One was red and one was blue. Those two main stars, I knew that I was still in our star system when I saw them, and those stars are spoken a lot in the Hopi prophecies. A lot of others, but Hopi prophecy is just one that comes to mind really quickly. So after that, when I went through the portal behind what I thought was a comet, I then began to realize it was a soul that I was following, but I didn't know whose soul it was. The star system, I started looking around this new star system. I was in a completely different solar system. And it felt like I was not supposed to be there. It felt like if I would have stayed there too long, I would not have found my way back. Meaning, physically, it was possible that I wouldn't have woken. I wouldn't have awakened. Okay? Woken. I wouldn't have awakened. So I looked around the star system just enough to try to memorize some of the shapes. And then I came back to my body. I sat up. I jotted down a few notes just so I won't remember. I wrote down Cancer Zodiac, portal, comet, star system that felt alien to me. Now, I do a lot of astral travel. So this star system did not feel like any place I had ever been. I can almost tell you what extraterrestrial origins come from this star system by the feeling that it gave me. And let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, of what this feel like. Yeah. It feels like when you on a road trip and you drive through a town that's completely unfamiliar to you, you might even compare it to a sundown town kind of feeling. That's how the star system felt. It felt like a place where I was unwelcomed. It felt like I didn't feel unprotected, but I definitely was receiving information that the resonance of that place was not fit for me, which is why I came back, because I wanted to continue following this soul, and I didn't because of everything that I'm telling you. So it's just like when you riding through certain towns you're unfamiliar with, you won't even stop and go to the gas station. I know somebody can relate to this. You won't even stop and go to the gas station in certain places just because of how you feel when you ride through there. So after I get through my day, I do my grand rising rituals. Then this report popped up that the Pope passed away. And this was Monday, the day of, like I said, after Easter. And I said, I said, that's interesting. I went to look at his natal chart. His rising sign is Cancer. So at this point now, I'm putting 2 and 2 together, and I'm like, okay, that was who I was following. Can I put pictures up here? Okay, no. Anyway, I don't know how to do that. I don't want to mess nothing up. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can. Let's see. Let's see. I'm going to show y'all something. Hopefully I'm not messing nothing up and y'all can see this. Okay, well, anyway, I'm going to show y'all this. All right. So this is connected to Sirius, and I'm going to tell you how in just a moment. But I have this book available on my Patreon. It's on all tiers. So you can go to Patreon and scroll back and get access to this book. All right. So now let's see. Can I take that down? All right. Okay. Now, when I found out he was Cancer rising, I knew that his soul was who I was watching. And it must have been important enough for me to not have my usual my usual adventurous things that I do on ASTRAL. I knew that it was something I was really supposed to pay attention to because it really interrupted what's been going on with me, right? I'm very aware of what I do in the astral plane. And a lot of what I create comes from those experiences. So I said, what's the significance of this? The significance is a couple of things, but I'm going to give you one because I don't want to be on here too long tonight because I'm going to do a full decoding. The significance is the Catholic Church in the beginning of the establishment, there were esoteric, Essenes, and Gnostic teachings that were usually based on ancestral indigenous wisdom passed down through oral tradition, sometimes through certain texts, glyphs, things like this. Now, they have been the main ones owning this stuff, right? They got a lot of treasures, they got a lot of information, right? So when the Pope opened those portals, the end of 2024, the beginning of this year, for the 25th Jubilee, it was 5 portals that was opened. I did a decoding all about that. That's on Patreon. It's deep because it's connected to 5 of your chakras. It's connected to the 5 seals spoken of in tribulation times in the book of Revelation. That's all I'm going to say about that right here. Now, this means that a lot of the prophecies, like the Cathar prophecy, where they were using a lot of high priestess magic connected to Mary Magdalene, okay? This is not surface stuff. You really got to do research to find out the true stories behind these things. But a lot of what they were doing, the Catholic Church didn't like it, and it led to them unaliving millions of men, women, and children. Within the Gnostic, Essenes, Cathars, even though you could say it was a form of Christianity, it was more so paganism, but paganism that they were aware of participating in. Not like today where you have people who are Christians participate in Easter and don't know that it's pagan or don't care because people like doing their stuff. People like doing what they've been doing. It's tradition. So this was completely different frequencies of consciousness. So when a pope leaves, that magic is released back through the bloodlines to those whose magic has been previously bound. This is the reason that baptisms was so important, because that was a form of binding to disconnect us from that ancestral wisdom. For those of us who are women, the worship of blood, the worship of the chalice or the Holy Grail, that is the body in the womb of a woman. Vesica Pisces, represented by the fish symbol, which represents a woman's yoni, her womb space. This is yoni and phallic magic that they have used since the beginning. This is why steeples are on top of churches. This is sacred geometry that's used to gather, coordinate energy, harvest the energy, and send it back out into the cosmos with specific intentions. So you can look at churches like batteries for the intentions of those who are the rulers all the way at the top in the high places over what happens with this energy. Now, when I did the decoding on George Floyd, I taught you exactly how that energy is used, siphoned, and distributed. Okay? You can check that out on Patreon. Now, once I figured that out, I knew that another flash of awakening was about to occur for us. What does that mean, and how does that show up for us? Well, for one, we're going to become more telepathic to each other and to the collective. This is why a lot of us are noticing we are more sensitive to energy. You cannot really lie to us. It's really difficult for somebody to lie and you not know. People can lie to themselves and they can't lie to you. That level of telepathy also means that when pain and suffering is occurring in the collective on the planet, we will feel some of that and it will activate something in us. This is energy harvesting through stirring up emotions. This is why being a master over your emotions, knowing how to emotionally regulate, knowing how to soothe your own nervous system is so imperative, because all spirituality requires you to be able to work with your nervous system, because it is the information highway for you to receive this information. So it's one thing for your DNA strands to unlock new codes, because the people who bound us are going through a dismantling of power. As the poles of Mama Earth reverse, the poles inside of us reverse as well. This is why we're going to see more women in leadership positions than men. We both have masculine and feminine a twin kind of energy, two energies that come together to make a third. However, those with wombs have a special prophetic calling to do specific things on this planet, and it can be something as simple as the routines that I teach in my course. You actually mastering that, being dedicated to doing that every single day, and that's going to unlock the information. So though epigenetics, science is catching up to spirituality, and it says that your ancestors' experiences actually become embedded in your DNA. This is the reason that messenger RNA is this new technology of cutting things out of the genetic code and copying and pasting other things. That's why this is a thing, because they have known for eons that we were coming back to this planet. And for a lot of us in past lives, we were unalive for operating in these gifts. And this is the reason that sometimes these gifts feel like a burden. Sometimes you don't want to feel everything. Sometimes you don't always want to know when somebody is lying to you. Sometimes you don't want to feel other people's pain and suffering. Sometimes you don't want to astral travel every time you go to sleep. Sometimes you just don't want to have the experience, because with spiritual gifts comes a level of responsibility, but also resistance is going to appear in your life to challenge you. The 3D matrix is going to be testing you. And it's not a negative thing when you learn how to use the chaos and turn it into order. Freemasons know this. It's about creating order out of chaos. That doesn't belong to them. That is ancient wisdom. So that is being unleashed in us. We can no longer live our lives as if we're regular people. because we are not NPCs. We have major roles to fulfill, and it all starts with the way that you are treating yourself, how you talk to yourself, what you're doing with your nervous system. What are you doing day to day? Are you doing things that's actually moving you in the direction that you know you are supposed to go? If you aren't living aligned. You're living and you're trapped in memories. You're trapped in trauma loops. You're trapped in the past. It happens to us all. And because my soul mission is so heretical, I experienced being a martyr most of my life because in a past life, I was considered a heretic by the Catholic Church. So losing my life for healing, helping women go through labor. We didn't need medications. We had herbs. I have so many memories and so many things that I know how to do that I have no words for why I know how to do them. It's in my DNA. It's in my morphogenic field. And when you learn how to gather that, and when you learn how to cultivate and sustain connection to that, this is when your ancestors are no longer something that you go to outside of you to honor, but your body becomes the living altar. And you're going to treat yourself different. This is why most of the clothes and most of the sheets and the microplastics, all of this stuff is to try to stop this awakening, to stop this ascension, but it cannot be stopped. It can be slowed down, but it cannot be stopped. It's written in the stars. So this is happening, and this means that you're going to have to be accountable. You can no longer be triggered by people, and it takes you out of your character and not have an immediate effect. You got to be accountable. You must learn how to master these emotions. For so many of us, having a witch wound, when I first found this lump on my thyroid, I looked up the statistics, and the percentage showed that mostly women experience this. And it's usually the age where a woman starts to go in perimenopause, which could be connected to hormones. But a hormone conversation is still a spiritual conversation. So as the estrogen starts to go down in a woman, things in her body changes because she's being recalibrated to access a different level of magic that had been previously bound in her bloodline. This is the reason why divide and conquer is such a thing. Because if we had communities again and we could come together, there's so many things that we would be able to accomplish. They know, right? But they keep us disorganized, distracted, and dysregulated to keep us divided so that we aren't able to fully utilize what our ancestors went through so much for us to be able to do. Start simple. When you drink your water, give thanks. Because there is some stuff going on with water right now too. One of the most precious, valuable resources in the solar system. You have that. You probably have some sitting right in front of you right now. Give honor and thanks for that. Acknowledge your honorable ancestors as you are drinking your water. It's the simple things that matter so much. A lot of us are dealing with anxiety, fatigue, panic attacks, and autoimmune diseases, musculoskeletal pain, having joint pain, having headaches, just stuff that you're not used to having, getting sick more often. What's happening? This is the ascension sickness. The higher we go in vibration, the more our body is going to be put in a state of purging. So it's coming through us. It's meant to come through us. It's meant to activate us. The pandemic wasn't the worst thing that happened to humanity. It was the best thing that happened to humanity. because it's taking us back to, okay, let me find a herb to get rid of this cough. Let me learn what it is that I need to eat to help me with this. When you're doing those things summon the ancestors who already have that knowledge and wisdom, and they will help you. They will tell you, they will teach you what to eat, what not to eat, when not to eat. There is no diet that suits everybody. It's really a vibrational thing, and it really is determined by where are you in life. So when women are entering into perimenopause, which is happening earlier and earlier, because now women even in their 20s that I have talked to personally have had to have hysterectomies because of a lot of perimenopause symptoms. Why is that? Our body remembers across dimensions and past lives. I developed this lump in my thyroid for a couple of reasons. Number one, my voice is very important to those who are ready to ascend in this time. I speak with integrity. I have worked for free, and many of the things that I do put me in positions that I wouldn't even talk about on here, but I know that there's a price that I have to pay to do what I do, and it hasn't stopped me. But that's the attempt to suppress the voice of the oracles. The second reason, because my throat chakra in human design is very powerful for storytelling. So to lose my voice is like something that I never want to experience. But my entire life, it seemed like what came out of my mouth was disruptive to the status quo. Even the questions that I asked as a kid was disruptive. My perception of things was disruptive. It was energetically warfare happening my entire life, usually centered around my voice. So when you don't speak your truth, it's often connected to a past life, because speaking your truth led to you being unalive, usually by suffocation, something that has something to do with the throat. And this is why for a lot of us, we chose an upbringing with people who did not support us in being our authentic selves, and really probably had too much trauma of their own to assist us in our spiritual awakening. So suppressing your truth was a form of protection. Not saying anything was a form of protection. But in a past life, if that was the way that you left here, of course you're going to feel some fear around saying certain things in this lifetime, because your cells remember what this led to before. So it's not just the love attachment style that determines whether or not we can ask for what we need, ask for help when we need help, be honest about how we feel. Sometimes speaking the truth can be very disruptive, and you must be ready to handle what comes after that. And sometimes we just feel like we got a lot of stress and too much on our plate to be dealing with that. And so we'll just not say anything. Your truth in the job market, depending on your career, could lead to you losing your job. Like, this is the oppression and suppression around truth, is a reflection of magic being bound, because truth is a very powerful medicine. Throughout these things, learning that millions upon millions lost their lives because monotheistic religion said so. So now that magic is being given back to us. And when we are sleeping, it depending on what you do in your day-to-day life, if you are not participating in rituals, routines, ceremonies, things that help you activate this, it's happening while you're sleeping. It's happening in your dreams. You're going to different worlds and experiences to do what it is that you are here to do. So you're still being transformed. Now, today, as I'm getting ready to do this decoding, I noticed that the Pope was 88 years old. 88 is 44 doubled. Double, anything that's double is connected to double helix, which is DNA, which is changing. Anything doubled also represents Jachin and Boaz, which are the two pillars. Anything doubled represents Sirius A and Sirius B within the star system, which is the spiritual sun that gives spiritual energy to the planet. So double Gemini twin rituals is something that I've been talking about since Prince passed away, which was when I was first made privy to this information from the Akashic Records. Him coming from the Twin Cities. And you can go through my old videos and you can go to Patreon to get access to that. I don't get paid for this, y'all. This type of information, you can't monetize your videos with this. Okay? So that's also connected to Kundalini energy because Ida and Pingala, which are electromagnetic currents that run up the spinal cord. Okay, this is why when there is a full moon in your sun sign, it's a good time to fast because these energies are activated during that time. They rise up the spine and they activate the pineal gland. And this is going to increase your third eye's capacity to see through illusions, which is not an easy thing to do because so many of us feel like we're going through trauma reenactments every day, like we're stuck in an illusion and you can't figure it out. Some of us can't even see ourselves. Some of us are noticing that people don't see our true self. That's why people misunderstand us often. We're misunderstanding each other. See, the energy that has been unleashed into the ethers with the technology and stuff that we're using now is not aligned with natural frequencies. So it distorts perception. It distorts what we see with our two eyes. It distorts our language, voice, speaking, communication. It distorts what we hear. This is the reason you can say something to someone and they will hear something completely different than what you said. Somebody could say something to you and you'll take it a whole different way than what it was meant. You can kind of look at it like the archons, which are these parasitic energies that feed on human suffering, and they instigate. They distort our communication to create frustration and create these triggers and these situations that lead to us being emotionally dysregulated, which is going to keep us from being able to use the magic that's being given back to us. So I hope this is making sense for y'all. Now, I see y'all talking in the comments. That's beautiful. I love that. I miss doing this with y'all. But tap into what you see me posting because its power is in the quality of the information, not the quantity. But I got confirmation of that because I found out that 2 sets of twins have been found unalived in Georgia and now in Mississippi. This is linked to the indigenous of America. So many people are realizing that they are indigenous to America. It's not a new land, it's an ancient land. And if you look at the places, Bell Mountain, just look at the places and the names, it'll tell you a lot. I'm going to talk about this in the decoding. When George Floyd situation occurred, the reports about him having a twin brother was how this manifested. When DMX passed away, and I have a 6 to 8 hour breakdown of his passing that you have to see. It's on Patreon, on all of the tiers. Black Rob would be considered the twin for that specific ritualistic by numbers alignment. And this is usually going by our natal chart. This is why it's good to know this stuff about yourself, because you won't be caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, Houdini, who passed away, and I never did the breakdown because I was being told not to. I have the information just been sitting on it. But Houdini, the musician, he was a magician. He was a very powerful man. Look at the hat that he wore. It wasn't by happenstance. He had a twin brother. I could keep going. This is no coincidence. DMX had twin sons. DMX had Exodus tattooed on his neck across his throat chakra. Even he may have had a past life where that happened, and religion just so happened to have been what resonated for him to get that tattoo. But I mean, getting out of religion is not easy. It takes a lot of studying, and it takes a lot of processing, and you're gonna grieve the things that you learn. So I don't fault anybody for being there, because it was a stepping stone for me, and it's why I am who I am today. So my point in pointing this out is for you to keep your eye out for this, because we must call on protection in this time right now. Because when lives are taken of certain bloodlines, there's a certain amount of ancestral magic that is being summoned through that. And because we're not standing on our square, because a lot of us don't know who we are, we don't know what we're supposed to do, we don't know what not to do. We've just been out here just not knowing. And there's so much information, it's hard to know with clarity. This is why I have a free ebook for you to master your intuition. Don't download that book and not read it. Read it and practice it and see for yourself. These things are skills that are developed and mastered with practice. It is imperative that we do this. Whether or not these things happen in our family or not recently, this is symbolic of what's happening collectively on the planet. And there's so many other things going on in the news that I could get into. But I just wanted to point out these things right now and say to you, this is Akshaya Tritiya. This is a time where any charity, any gold or silver that you buy, any investment that you make into yourself, anything that you do is going to create infinite ripples of wealth. This is the time now to be tapping into this. None of this is coincidental. I don't believe in coincidences because it's not a thing. All right? Everything is written in the stars. That workshop is free. If you buy any product on the website, you're going to get that workshop for free. If you are in the Turn Pain into Purpose course, or you get that course, you're going to get that workshop for free. And even though the most powerful timing is between today and tomorrow to access this, because it is through honoring the ancestors that you're able to clear karmic debt. Okay? No matter when, that workshop, by using those tools that I give you, and I keep it simple, and I don't make things overly expensive, because I want people to be able to access their own power. I don't never want people to have to depend on me for anything. I'm just a messenger. I'm just here as the catalyst to activate you and to help direct you in a direction that's going to actually be in alignment with you. Pay more attention to the little things. because this is how the ancestors speak. Learn to laugh at yourself more. It is medicine for the soul. Our soul has been fragmented. Do y'all know how traumatic it is to know how many lives? We don't really even know the exact number, but how many lives have been lost due to religious wars, and it's still happening today. So much blood has been shed, and that blood is now crying out. We're going to see cataclysms, disasters, food shortages, things that we never thought would be a shortage of. That's coming. Up to the end of this year, this world is going to look very different. So knowing how to do certain rituals, when, how to honor the ancestors, actually dedicating yourself to your practice. You are the main character. And if it's something happening in your life you don't like, it's there to irritate you enough to get you moving in the direction that you were being called to. We're not allowed to be stuck anymore. And in the dream realm, I'm coming to so many of y'all. So many souls, y'all are coming to me. And we're doing what we can't do in day-to-day life because we're not quite there yet. But we're on the new earth. But the experience that you have is going to be equal to the routines, your perceptions, your values, and your subconscious beliefs. There are many ways to communicate with your subconscious mind. But you need to be able to communicate with the fragmented parts of yourself. Relationships, romantic relationships right now, this magic that's flowing back in, it's tearing down illusions. It's tearing down any false insecurity. And relationships now are the highest form of alchemy. And a lot of people are in pain trying to be in relationships because the old template no longer works. A lot of the red pill masculine information, a lot of the information pertaining to men aren't capable of love, a lot of these things are not true. It's a paradigm that the person who's communicating it is in. But it's not an overall, this is the only thing that can be true. The people we attract into romantic relationships teach us very valuable lessons about ourselves. Can't diminish that. And so if you are someone who needed to love yourself more, you probably are gonna attract someone who's gonna have these areas where they just aren't able to love you the way that you would like for them to love you, because in this lifetime it's meant for you to figure out how to give that love to yourself. They're not the enemy. They're not meditating on ways to hurt you and figuring it's none of that. Our trauma is mirrored in our relationships. When you see me post something about relationships, make sure that you really pay attention to that, because the insights that I'm sharing is coming from the Akashic records. It transcends a lot of the ideologies that's trending on the planet right now. So these things are going to lead us to a place where we will no longer have to dim our light, suppress our voice. We're gonna feel more safe to be authentic. And this is when you know you're doing the work. And it might be funny, but it's the truth. Like if you ain't got to the point where you can fart in public yet, you're still bound. You know, you're that's a natural human function. The Victorian ages programmed us to believe it was rude. Something so simple as suppressing, stopping a natural bodily function out of fear of the way it's going to be perceived or taken shows that your sovereignty is still bound by this sorcery that was done collectively to us. We're meant to get free from. And I ain't gonna say I'd have perfected it, but I definitely been farting in public a lot more than I used to. And I really don't even care if somebody bring it up or look at me. It's just gonna be a little smile. You know, because that means that you're bound by shame. It means that you're living in fear. And even some women will not have bowel movements when they first start dating somebody, and they'll hold it in and wait till they get home. Like, all of these things are symbolic of what has happened to us on a spiritual level. That's my point in saying this. So it might seem like nothing important, but it really is. Your level of comfortability is, with yourself and with your natural self, it really does determine how tethered you are to certain dimensions of consciousness. And this was one of the reasons that I used to wear weaves and wigs, if you look at my old videos, but now I'm honoring my non-ether hair in a really different way. And it is definitely changing my capacity to connect and to channel. But I had to go through an ego TKO to do it, you know. Relying on external appearances, it's more about the energy now. What energy are you operating in? The beauty has always been energetic, but it became aesthetic because we have been bound and programmed to focus on the physical more than the invisible. But the physical realm is only an effect of the invisible realm. So if there's anything happening in your life that's not in alignment anymore, just hold on. Figure out what it is that you need to do for you and start doing that, and do it every day, even when it's hard. And it's going to fall away. But this is the way this system, this construct, push back against us. The voices that you hear that cause you to doubt yourself, the reasons, I know y'all feel it too, but you have moments where you be so excited about who you are and what you can do and things you would like to do, and you have other moments where you damn near can't even get out of the bed. That's by design. That's the purging. We're going through stasis. And because a lot of us have inferiority complexes that was programmed into us, and we diminish our own light, we play small to be safe. That is not going to be the currency of energy on the new earth. And so that's why now you're probably super aware of that. And you probably feel uncomfortable. So if my content seems like it don't make sense, it's not connected, I don't have a niche. I'm here to be a channel for those who are going through the ascension process for the purpose of untaming the soul. This is only a prison planet because our souls have been tamed. Now I'm following souls, watching souls leave and going to the next star system that they go to. Like that's incredible. That's a whole new level of experience for me. So I'm gonna do the decode, and I'm gonna talk about this. I'm gonna talk about this twin energy. I'm gonna get into the gematria. I'm gonna get into these things, and it's gonna be on Patreon. So if you want to get access to that, follow the link that I have in the description and get access to that. All right. And thank you, Zia. You're on here being spreading love. I see that. Um, but yes, work on it. Start simple. The next time you need the fart, see what come up in your mind. I'm serious. This is how the 3D Matrix program codes work. And just suppressing is just it's not good. It's not. Um, you know, it's so much that I could say, but I'm gonna leave it there for now. Go back and watch my previous lives. I'm blocked from going live on TikTok. That's been suspended. So that's why I went live here. Eventually, I'm probably going to create a channel somewhere else where I can speak without having to try to censor myself. It's ironic because I hear other people speaking on these topics and I don't see that happening. But again, when you are truly an oracle, you're gonna have that resistance. So it's okay. It's part of the journey. It's not gonna be like this forever. And because of the amount of chaos that we're about to come into now, you want to start mastering your own internal dialogue with yourself that you know is not healthy. Deal with that. Okay, do whatever you got to do to deal with that. Because a lot of people are going through spiritual psychosis and they're calling it a spiritual awakening. A lot of people are being misled. You know, just be aware of that. There are a lot of hijackings and a lot of walk ins that are occurring right now on the planet from a lot of the experiences that I'm having out in the cosmos. I'm seeing where this is happening. We want to be careful about those things and just trust the process for you. Actually, in the workshop, I did an oracle card reading, and I'm talking about y'all just got to go watch that workshop. Go watch that workshop. If you don't buy nothing but a pendulum, you still will get access to that workshop. All right, go get that workshop and watch that. Um, because I'm telling y'all, once we master the emotional world, we're going to be able to not only heal ourselves, but heal each other. Again, the way we were always supposed to. Be careful about what trends, viral ideologies, streams of consciousness that you agree with and connect yourself to. Just observe. Just observe. And as the illusion crumbles, we will see who's who. We will know what's what, even in your own life. But you have to be ready because you're not going to be able to unsee it. And with truth does come a certain capacity to sit with discomfort. So start sitting with your own discomfort. Do not give up. Don't let other people who wishing for your downfall or people who misunderstand you stop you from doing and being what you are here to do and be. Yes, I know it's easier said than done, but I want to encourage you that you matter. Just as you are, you matter. And we're not broken. The system is broken, and we're getting it out of us. And so if you resonate with me, more than likely you're highly empathic, hypersensitive, hypervigilant, highly intuitive. You attract people into your life that need fixing or healing. And maybe you don't really vibe with blood relatives, yet you find yourself wanting to honor your ancestors. And it can be like, these are some of the things with the spiritual awakening that like can be trippy. Because, I can only imagine people who watch me and they're just like, she don't really mess with her biological family like that. She's talking about honor her ancestors. I know it don't make sense. It's not supposed to make sense to the mind. See, the mind is coded. The mind has been in prison. We've been through psychological enslavement. So this information is processed through intuition, it's processed through the heart, it's processed through the soul. And I'm not here to make people understand me. I used to go out of my way to try to get people to understand me. I'm not doing that no more. And I hope that you're not either. Recall your energy. Call your energy back to you. I'm in the middle of doing a new soul revocation right now where I'm calling some energy back to me, my ability to speak the truth. And even with me having surgery, I'm going to be having surgery soon. I'll probably give an update so you all kind of have an idea of what's happening. But all of my 3D experiences have a spiritual message, and I share that. And I'm not letting anything stop me from speaking the truth, because it is through truth that light is created, but light is created by darkness. So by me experiencing challenging things in darkness, being able to hold a certain perception and speak from that place, there is a power that that brings into anyone who witnesses that, that you can use for your own self. And so I want you to know that if you stick with what you know you're supposed to be doing for you, maybe something else works for you. But in that turn pain to purpose course, when I tell y'all blood, tears, and sweat, mind, body, soul was put into that, and to make it super simple, because I want people to be ready. And I want y'all to be ready for what's coming. Don't wait till it hit. Don't wait till the climax happens. Get ready now. And I know you be busy. I know it be stuff going on, stuff happening in your life. I mean, hell, just keeping food on the table alone almost requiring some people to have 2 jobs. I get it. But if you only take 5 minutes to do something outside of this simulated reality so that we can reprogram the reality, that counts for a lot. Because remember, all of those wars, those indigenous wars, the Cherokee wars, the wars with the British, the wars with the Catholic Church, all of that, that was spiritual. And what was bound within us is calling to be freed, and it's not going to make sense because it is beyond the senses of what we have been conditioned to believe. Usually it's the opposite. So I'm going to be talking more about this as we go forward. I want to thank y'all for joining me. Make sure y'all subscribe to the new channel. But go to the website and check that out and see. I really want y'all to tap into this Akshaya Tritaya. Like, I would have never known about this. This is information that I was never supposed to know. And this is the reason that I have some of the resistance that I have, because I go in deep. And when I go in rabbit holes, I'm going in rabbit holes so that I can bring some power to the people back up out of there. And so when I learn these things and I learn this celestial timing, I sit with it and practice it myself, sometimes months, sometimes years before I share it. But once I do, like, tap in. All right. So sending my love, y'all. It's so much more that I want to say. It's so much that I see, that I do have a perspective that I feel like is worthy to be shared. But like I said, I'm getting a lot of resistance right now. So I will do these when I can. Otherwise, find me on Patreon. And I hope that you all got something that you'll be able to use and take with you. But subscribe to the new channel, okay? Because that's where the new earth, a lot of the new information that's coming through is going to be. All right, y'all. Peace.